Hello everyone, welcome back to another video on Elite Academy and welcome back to our daily issue analysis Dia. And once again, thank you to all of you, those who are reaching out to us with encouraging messages that don't stop Dia. It is very good, it is very helpful for our preparation. It has reduced our burden to go through the newspapers because in newspaper we only read the article, but you are covering holistically. And recently there was very unusual request and the student told, sir, we are ready to pay for the please don't stop it. So I told, no, no, don't worry, it will be free only. Okay, anyways, so but yeah, such messages, such requests, they help us, they motivate us to come up with more initiatives and to come up with the issues or the initiatives which will help you in your preparation. It will help you in excelling the exam. Okay, so we are always thinking and always working on that front. Okay, so let's start with the topic for the day. So today we have taken this topic of India EU relations, European Union. So why it is in news? Because this year there was one article on 16th August, a roadmap for India EU ties. So this was in news, and this year what we are doing, India is not only celebrating its 75th year of independence, but India is also celebrating 60 years of diplomatic relation with the European Union. So this is how we start, this is why it is in news, and we will discuss in detail that what is EU, why it is important, and what all fronts our relation is working, and how is our relationship. Okay, so this is very important for your GS2, very important for your India and bilateral relations and India's relations with the major blocs, groupings. So that way you should use it. Okay. So before we discuss about India-EU relation, first we should know what is EU. So European Union, if we say, it is an economic and political union between 27 European countries. 27 nations are there. Okay, and EU's predecessor is the, if we say, then it was European Economic Community, which was formed in 1958. And that time the purpose was to increase the economic cooperation between the six countries only. So, however, the names are not important from the exam point of view. And the present day nomenclature EU, European Union, the name change from European Economic Community to European Union. It happened in 1993, and it was there to reflect the changes from being a purely economic union to broader alliance. So, broader alliance where they are also talking about political union. Okay. So this was, and UK, we know that it left the European Union in 2020, and the very popular Brexit issue was in news in those days. Like it has been going since many years, but yeah, finally UK left it in 2020. So this is European Union for us. Now let's analyze the brief timeline of our relation of India-EU relation. So India was one of the first country from Asia to extend the diplomatic relation when this European Economic Community was formed. Okay, so it was formed in 1958. We extended our diplomatic relation with the EEC in 1962. But the reasons for the establishment of this partnership or diplomatic relation was not only solely based on the political front or economic front, but there were roots because India has historical partnership over decades, which developed before independence also. So on the ideas of India's Vasudhaiv Kutumbakam, and also the tales of Maharaja Jam Sahib, Digvijay, Siniji, Ranjit Singhji. So what is the tale? They are narrated. The stories of this Maharaja is narrated in Poland till date because of his courageous and bravery action, which could save thousand Polish children who were working at that point of time in the labor camps of the Red Army in USSR. So he saved it, and because of that, his tales are narrated still in Poland. So this is how our historical relation have been with the European countries. Okay, but since we established our diplomatic relation in 1962, so European Economic Community at that point of time extended or funded our several developmental projects in India, and we worked closely. For example, the EEC extended its cooperation in India's Operation Flood, which was launched in 1970. Okay, so this is with respect to EEC. Now we'll see with respect to European Union. Now let's analyze the brief timeline of India-EU relation. So the recent developments with respect to India-EU. So the first India-EU summit, it happened in June 2000, which was a watershed moment for the evolution of our relationship. Okay, so that was the first India-EU summit. So this way you should remember because it was the first one in 2000. Then at the fifth India-EU summit in 2004, the relationship was upgraded to strategic partnership. So these categories are very important whenever we are talking about international relation, SEPA, SECA, then strategic partnership. So with every country, we have different level of diplomatic relations. So that's why it is important. So it was upgraded to a strategic partnership that India and you, they both are a strategic partner for each other. Then this joint action plan was signed in 2005 towards strengthening various aspects, strengthening the dialogues and consultation mechanism in the political and economic sphere, enhancing the focus was on enhancement of the trade and bringing people to people closer and cultures together. So, however, you don't need to remember all these sub points that key joint action plan. What was the purpose? Joint action plan covering the various political and economic sphere. This is how you should write the exam in the exam because whenever the question will come, definitely you are going to write about the areas of cooperation. So there you focus more on the areas of cooperation under different subhead, what all examples you have to remember. But here it's okay, fine. If you write simply joint action plan, which was signed in 2005, the focus was the dialogue and consultation in the political and economic sphere. That should be fine. Okay, then comes the 15th India EU summit, which happened in 2020, and it provided a common roadmap for 2025. So basically, this is to guide our joint action and strengthen the partnership for next 5 years because it was signed in 2020. So next 5 years till 2025, how our relation should be. And the roadmap, if I tell you, it was to discuss or to engage more over these domains: foreign policy, security, economy and trade, sustainable modernization, partnership, global governance, and people to people relation. Okay, so these points you should know just to make yourself more holistic in the answers, but it is fine if even if you don't write. So if you simply write that in 2020 we came up with a common roadmap for 2025, that should be fine because the domains which are mentioned here, definitely we are going to discuss under areas of cooperation in more detailed way. So here you should know this much only. So this is the brief timeline of the history or our relation with India and European Union with European Union. Okay. Now we will see the areas of cooperation in detail. Now let's analyze the India-EU relation under different areas of cooperation under different head. So the first one being the economy and trade. So related to economy and trade, since 1970 itself, we have been the beneficiaries of generalized system of preference, that is GSP. So EU came up with GSP, and the overall purpose of GSP was to reduce the import duties on the different products in order to support various industries in developing countries. So we have been beneficiaries of that, and we were able to reduce the import duties for almost 66% of product lines. So this is one aspect. Coming to FTA and BETA, that is Free Trade Agreement and Bilateral Investment Treaty, we have been negotiating since BETA, we have been negotiating since 2007. But till now, we have not been able to come to a conclusion. Why? Because there have been many thorny issues between India and European Union, and the formal agreement we are not able to come up with over those thorny issues such as agriculture, data protection. So what has to be done? Negotiation is going on, and let's see when we get that aspect finalized. Now let's analyze the economy and trade aspects in detail. So European Union is India's third largest trading partner, which is somewhere around euro 88 billion worth of trade in goods, and this is a data from 2021. Or you can say that 10.8% of total Indian trade is coming from European Union. Okay, so this is after USA and China. On the other hand, if we analyze, India is European Union's 10th largest trading partner, which is accounting somewhere around 2.1% of European Union's total trade in goods in 2021. So these two data you can use in at the same time to analyze positive aspects and the negative aspects, or you can show through the second data you can highlight the potential of trade which is there for Indian companies in European Union. So we can expand, we can do more. So that aspect you can analyze with using this data. And if we analyze from the export point of view, then European Union is the second largest destination for Indian export, somewhere around 15% approx of total, and that is after USA, where with which we have 18%. Next, if we analyze it from foreign investment point of view, then European Union's share in foreign investment is in somewhere around 87.3 billion euros in 2020. So if we analyze this with the help of one graph, then you can see that European Union is the third largest country from where the investment is coming. So 29% is coming from Singapore, 22% is coming from Mauritius, and 16% is coming from European Union, which means that they are contributing huge amount of foreign investment. Okay, and with this, the data which is there in front of us, I would like to give you another data with whatever investment is coming, with 6,000 companies operating in India, and they are creating 6 million direct or indirect jobs in the country. So that is huge. 6 million jobs is being provided by 6,000 companies, European companies, which are operating in India. Right. So that way you use this analysis, you use this data in order to highlight the importance of European Union for India and India's importance for European Union economy. And not only that, if we analyze from the perspective of Indian companies operating in European Union, then we Indian companies, they are operating in the field of steel, energy, healthcare, food processing, software. So you take the example of Tata, you take the example of TCS in software, Infosys in software, Mahindra in software. So they are there in Germany, they are there in France, right? So you can use these names in order to substantiate your point. Okay. Now let's discuss about next areas of cooperation, that is science and technology. So with respect to that, science and technology agreement was signed in 2001 and it was renewed in 2007. So this is like broad guideline which was set down with respect to the cooperation between science and technology. Next came the cooperation over nuclear fusion energy research in 2009 and peaceful use of nuclear energy in 2020. So agreements or the cooperation agreements has been signed between Government of India and the European Atomic Energy Community known as Euratom. Okay, so they signed this detail in 2009, and we know that France is also extending the nuclear technology for the nuclear power plants. And in 2020, the agreement is with respect to peaceful usage of the nuclear energy. So time to time, we have been coming up, and the areas of cooperation you can write over nuclear technology, fusion, or the peaceful use. From that point of view, you should remember it. Next is with respect to enhanced cooperation in energy. So joint declaration of enhanced cooperation in energy that was there in 2012, and we know that be it France or be it Germany, they have been collaborating with us on many new renewable energy projects as well. For example, the Green Energy Corridor by Germany, or the France collaboration with France over International Solar Alliance. So like this, the countries they are participating. Next is related to India EU Trade and Technology Council. So India and EU Trade Technology Council is there, and it functions as the strategic mechanism where they are giving access to India with respect to the advanced technologies of the EU, and they are helping us in setting up new standards for the crucial areas such as 5G, artificial intelligence. So they are helping us in building the standards as well. And to tell you this, we are when we are saying Trade and Technology Council, so this is for India. If we consider, then India is the second such country for European Union after USA, with which they have set up this Trade and Technology Council. So European Union has Trade and Technology Council with USA, and this is the second country, that is India, is second such country after USA. So this is very important whenever you are analyzing the unique role of India or importance of India for European Union. There you talk about such things. Okay. Next is related to Science and Technology Joint Steering Committee. So the Science and Technology Joint Steering Committee between two countries, they focus on areas such as healthcare, artificial intelligence, and earth sciences. So like this, we have been collaborating. Okay. Now, whatever I have shown on this slide, that is the areas. But with help of examples, whatever we have discussed, that should substantiate your point. Okay. Then only your answers will look more specific. Otherwise, it will look general only. And if you're not substantiating, then it will of no use. So even though you are reading the handwritten notes or watching the slides, but go through the videos and add the specific points in your answers. Next area of cooperation which we should discuss is related to space cooperation. So ISRO has been playing very important role and long-standing relation with the European Union since 1970s. So European Space Agency and ISRO have been working closely with each other. And ISRO has contributed towards the EU's satellite navigation system called as Galileo. So there we have contributed. In 2018, ISRO and European Space Agency, that is ESA, has signed an agreement on sharing the data from the satellites, that is Copernicus program there. And also, time to time, we have certain joint collaboration, joint missions with countries like France. We had Saral. So this was a joint mission named Saral Satellite for Altica and Argos for studying. Basically, the purpose of this Saral was to study ocean from space using altimeter, and it was launched in 2013. Next, we have also collaborated and signed agreement over the network and cooperations operations support for Indian missions from the European Space Agency, such as Chandrayaan 3 and Aditya L1. So these are the areas of cooperation. If you remember these points specifically, then only you can add value. So always focus on remembering the name Galileo, Copernicus, Saral, Chandrayaan 3 and Aditya L1. Simply knowing will not help. Okay, so this was with respect to the areas of cooperation in the field of space. Another area of cooperation is related to people cooperation or relation. So there is a joint declaration on culture 2010 where we started collaborating over the promotion of our culture, each other's culture. And if we analyze from a student's point of view, over 50,000 Indian students are currently studying in various European universities. And we have India and European Union's common agenda on migration and mobility, that is CAMM. This is the fundamental cooperation agreement between both of the India and European Union, and this aims at better organization of regular migration and fostering well-managed migration so that it is more organized. Okay, so that is the objective. And if we analyze time to time with us from culture point of view, festivals of culture like, for example, Europalia India Festival. So here we keep on exchanging our heritage such as sorry, yoga and Ayurveda, so that the we can promote more people to people cooperation. And if we analyze from diaspora point of view, more than 2 million people are there in Europe. However, the actual data is not there. So actual figures, it is not there on the government record, and that too why it is not possible, because here we are talking about European Union, and in European Union not all European countries are there. So diaspora, huge diaspora is there, and time to time, that is the reason that our Honorable Prime Minister Modi ji also keeps visiting the different European countries, so that we can attract our Indian diaspora also for investment and for connecting back to the roots for all those purposes, right? So that is how you should analyze. Now, with respect to the climate aspect, India and European Union have been collaborating, and since 2016, EU and India have together pursued this Clean Energy and Climate Partnership (CECP), which focuses on developing cooperation in the field of clean energy and implementation of the Paris Agreement. Then we have European Green Deal, which was presented in 2019, and it sets out a detailed vision to make Europe climate neutral by 2050, safeguarding biodiversity, establish a circular economy, and eliminate pollution. So There, Indian companies and India is envisaging a very important role in helping them, be it through carbon trade or through whatever we can collaborate through International Solar Alliance. So that is also one of the Green Deal, which is a vision for European Union to make the climate by neutral by 2050. Next is International Solar Alliance is already going on between France and European Union. So earlier International Solar Alliance was there. It was founded by France and India. Okay, and it is the target is to mobilize US dollar 1 trillion by 2030. Apart from bringing down the overall cost of the solar energy installation. And in 2018, EU and International Solar Alliance they signed a joint declaration, and the intention is to further deepen the cooperation. So India and France itself they started, and now they have deal European Union on the as a whole to further deepen the cooperation. Next is Coalition for Disaster Resilience Infrastructure. So it is also one of the it was co-founded by India, and EU became the member of this coalition for disaster resilient infrastructure in 2021. So there they will be providing the technology, they will be providing cooperation for building disaster resilient infrastructure. And this happened in 2021. EU became the member of coalition in 2021. There are other areas, for example, green strategic partnership is there between India and Denmark, which aims to address the climate change, biodiversity loss, and pollution issues. Then India Nordic Summit is there, which happened in May, and it focuses on green technology, industry transformation, which are important for the sustainable and inclusive growth. So these are the areas, these are the examples which you can take. Also, we have Clean Ganga initiative, where European Union and India they are cooperating, and other than Ganga also there is a deal with other water related challenges in order to address them in coordinated manner. So here we have almost 7 to 8 names which are important. Deals are important, corporations are important, projects are important. When you will be specific in international relation, then only you can score marks. Why I am emphasizing on remembering them? Because then only our answers will look like we are writing specific. Otherwise, it will look like general. Now let's analyze the area of cooperation with respect to defense and security. So in defense and security, we have bilateral dialogue on counter-terrorism, and it is held from time to time to discuss the cooperation in the field of counter-terrorism, violent extremism, and related areas. So even Union is struggling with the different ideological clashes and lone wolf attack, be it in Paris or the extremist fundamentalist attacks, racial attacks there. So and the terrorist activities. So we have this bilateral dialogue on counterterrorism, which is held from time to time. Next is related to this new information fusion center in Indian Ocean region in New Delhi. So this was recently linked up with Maritime Security Center in Horn of Africa, which is established by European Union Naval Force. So this is over exchanging the information in Indian Ocean region with the Indian Navy and the European Naval Force. Also, the first maritime security dialogue was held in a virtual format in 2021, and the overall purpose, is focused on the cooperation in maritime domain awareness, capacity building, joint naval activities. Okay, so this is the purpose of the first maritime security dialogue, which was held in 2021. Okay, so next is we have a specific joint military and naval exercises. So, joint in European Union and India joint naval exercise was done in honor in the Indian Ocean region, the in order to deal with the piracy and security issues. Also, we have country specific collaborations with France, like Shakti is there, Garuda is there. So, joint military and naval exercises and conferences are held in order to discuss the issues in maritime security in the Indian Ocean region and cooperation over that. So this is one aspect. Next is related to, yes, the deals which we are having with each other. So the Rafale deal, the Rafale fighter jets France's on-time delivery is pushing for more collaboration, and the willingness they have shown with respect to Barracuda nuclear attack submarines to Indian Navy. So it reflects the growing level of trust in the relationship. And if we talk about other projects, then leading European defense equipment manufacturers, they are willing to become the partner as part of our Make in India with Indian companies for defense projects, right? So this is one aspect. Also, with the in context of the present geopolitical scenario, the cooperation with European Union in defense sector is increasing substantially. Why? Has increased also in past, and this is critical for the present geopolitical context because our hardware dependence on Russia is huge in the backdrop of the Ukraine conflict, right? And if we don't seek diversification in armament imports from other regions, then it will be difficult for us. It will be painful for us in the long term. And especially whenever we are talking about latest technologies and that too in wake of confrontation with China, so we have to be updated. We have to look for alternative partners and alternative countries, regions from where we can get the support. So remember these points whenever you are writing about defense and security cooperation. Now let's analyze the issues in our cooperation. So the first issue is related to India European Union BIT, that is Bilateral Investment Treaty, Trade and Investment Agreement, and FTA, the Free Trade Agreement. We have been not able to sign it, and the negotiations are going on since 2007. However, very recently the FTA talk has been resumed again. Many times in between they suspended it or it remained dormant since the time it was launched. Why? There are certain issues. So India is demanding for data security, India is demanding for data localization, so that is India's demand. European Union is asking for other things like there is this sanitary and phytosanitary standards, they are very strict. India is demanding for relaxation. Their IPR regime is very strong, very strict, so we are demanding something else. Our regime doesn't recognize it, two, three aspects. So that we will discuss under IPR. Okay. And they are asking us to relax our data localization norms. Also, time to time, there will be a temporary, there are norms related to movement of skilled workers. So they will change the policies. Okay, so related to all these aspects, we have been not able to come to a common page that how to resolve these issues so that we can sign BIT or FTA. So this is one concern. Next is trade. We are not able to utilize the trade in full capacity. So trade potential not fully utilized. India, we have seen that in starting only you saw the data that we are accounting for 10.8% of EU's trade. Okay, our basically trade with European Union, and from their point of view, we saw that hardly 2.1% of trade, overall trade, we are contributing. Okay, but at the same time, their relation with China, their trade with China is huge. So we are unable to do that. But there are issues. If you will analyze it, then you should analyze from this point of view that there are certain non-tariff barriers on Indian agriculture products in the form of this sanitary and phytosanitary measures. So please note down all these things because here I have shown it symbolically. If you will not note it down, you won't be able to remember it. Right? So further, the presence of non-tariff barriers on Indian agriculture products, if we say in the form of SPS measures, they are very stringent and they enable European Union to ban certain Indian agrarian products from entering in the market. So you would have come across this news of European Union has banned Alfonso mango due to sanitary phytosanitary standards, or time to time they have been blocking or they have restricted the entry of processed meat in European Union market or because of these certain standards of sanitary and phytosanitary measures. So this is why we call it non-tariff barrier. Next is related to IPR. So IPR legislation, if we analyze India's IPR legislation, so we ban evergreening of patents and we also ban the exclusivity of test data, protecting the clinical trial data, basically. So our country, our legislation, IPR legislation, it bans both, but they are not. ready to give this. They are not ready to compromise this. Our law says that if we go on supporting evergreening of patents and exclusivity of test data, then it will jeopardize the sale of low price generic drugs and chemicals. Okay. In this perspective, European Union is expecting us to strengthen our IPR regime. So here we have a conflicting view. Next, if we analyze, then China's growing influence in Eurasia, it is also a matter of concern, and it is also one of the issue. So EU has high dependence on Chinese market as well, and in European Union Chamber of Commerce is there. So time to time they also release data. So they released one survey, Business Confidence Survey 2020. This survey is analyzing that most European business are chiefly in China for China. So that is how they are seeing Chinese cooperation and Chinese relation is there with respect to economy. Next is related to differences over strategic and geopolitical matters. So we both have European Union and India have diverging opinions, divergent interests are there in some areas. For example, India's reluctance with respect to condemning Russia over Russia-Ukraine war was not liked by European Union. So European Union wanted us to boycott it because they thought this is not right and India is not showing a strong stand. But India rather criticized European Union for their double standards, saying that you guys are showing double standard. If we analyze the data, then European Union purchased 45% of its gas and that to gas imports from Russia in 2021. Now, why this ambiguity? Why this double standard? On the one hand, you are taking gas from Russia and you want us to dilute our relation with Russia because we have and that too because of this war, and in spite of knowing that we had traditionally been friends. So there is ambiguity, there is differences over such issues. Also, whenever China attacks or China Galwan clash was there or whatever they are doing in POK, that time European Union will say nothing. So this is the problem, this is the difference over the strategic and geopolitical matters. There are certain other internal challenges of European Union because of which we have been not able to collaborate, be it the power struggle between France and Germany or Brexit issues, economies of Portugal and Spain, they are crashing. There are ideological clashes happening, right wing and left wing clashes are happening within the countries, within European Union countries. And because of those internal challenges, also our cooperation, the cooperation of European Union and the cooperation of India is still at stale and not moving at that pace at which it should. Okay, so these were the certain issues, but one point of caution. However, we have discussed six issues. We can add further more, but until unless if you explain them, nothing will happen. So these are the just side headings. Whatever explanation I have given, that should be there in your notes. Then only you will be able to substantiate it. Okay. So we have seen the areas of cooperation, we have seen our brief timeline, history, and now we have seen the issues. And issues, yes, specific points do remember, otherwise it will be waste. And now we should know way forward. So way forward, you tell that yes, we should finalize this Indo-European Union bilateral investment treaty, and which has been negotiation has been going pending since 2007. So this is one aspect. If we talk about the FTA, then proactive resumption of the FTA has happened of the ambitious Indian European Union Free Trade and Investment Treaty. It was done in 2021, so it is a right direction. It is a step in right direction. So that you highlight. Then, with respect to connectivity, it is one of the major pillars of engagement between any two countries, be it the physical connectivity, human connectivity, or especially nowadays we are talking about digital connectivity, can be the newer areas of cooperation. So, with respect to this, India EU roadmap 2025, which we discussed in the starting, it plays a special highlight or a special emphasis on this aspect of need to build cooperation on data protection and regulation. So there they are talking about this cooperation over the digital connectivity and especially the protection and regulation. Then green investment and green infrastructure building are the need of the hour, and European Union can be very important partner with respect to the funds or resources or technology capabilities, and especially in the renewable energy sector. So there also we are collaborating, and you talk about futuristic point of view that how they can play a role in India's climate action or the NDC targets or whatever we have discussed few days back in DIA. Okay, so take points from there. Then you talk about a European Union's global gateway strategy, which will create n number of opportunities for cooperation in investment in more secure and sustainable infrastructure in India. So that way you use these points. And the next one is related to Indo-Pacific region. So here both India and European Union can engage for our geopolitical, geo-economic aspects, you can say, strategic aspects, you can say. So European partners, they acknowledge that India is very important pillar in ensuring the stability in Indo-Pacific region. So you should know whenever we are talking about Indo-Pacific region, then what is the opinion of other countries with respect to India. So European partners, they acknowledge that India is very important pillar for ensuring stability in the region. Okay? And then you can end by mentioning the comment of Indian External Affairs Minister S. Shankar, who says that India and European Union are each, we both means European Union also and India also, are political and economic poles in an increasingly multipolar world. Our ability to work together, therefore, can shape the global outcomes. So this is very important observation that we both are equal and we can play very important role in stability in future with respect to the global outcomes, and that too when we are talking about increasingly multipolar world. So use such comments; it will add more value to your points and your answers. So this is it. Hope you got very good understanding. We have discussed it in very detail, but do take the note of the specific points and keep revising it. Okay. See you all. Take care. We will meet tomorrow.